Welcome to the Sleepy City Travelers channel. Tonight, we journey north to a city of stone and water, to a place where cliffs meet rivers, where French whispers echo through narrow streets, where history feels not like the past, but like the present breathing quietly. We travel to Quebec City, to the oldest walled city north of Mexico, to a fortress perched on rock, to a settlement that has watched 4 centuries pass. Close your eyes, let yourself settle deeply, and drift with us as we explore the rock and the river, the walls and the water, the beginning of French America. Let your breathing slow, let peace settle over you, and begin this gentle journey through time. Quebec City was founded in 1608, 416 years ago, by Samuel de Champlain, a French explorer, a cartographer, a man who understood geography, who saw this place, this narrow point where the river pinches, and recognized its importance, its strategic value, its potential. Champlain chose this spot deliberately, carefully, with vision. This would be the foundation, the beginning, the seed from which New France would grow. 1608, making Quebec City one of the oldest European settlements in North America. Older than New York, older than Boston, older than Philadelphia, among the first, among the founding cities, among the places where the European story in North America began. The name Quebec itself tells a story, comes from the Algonquin word Quebec, which means where the river narrows. Simple, descriptive, accurate. The St. Lawrence River, that massive waterway, that highway to the interior of the continent, narrows here, pinches, constricts, becomes manageable, becomes crossable, becomes controllable. The indigenous peoples knew this, named it for this, for the geographic reality that made this place significant. Champlain understood what the name meant, understood why this narrowing mattered, and built his settlement here, where the river narrows, where Quebec sits, where the name describes the place perfectly. Quebec City is unique, singular, special in a way that matters. It is the only city north of Mexico that still has its original fortified walls intact. The only one. Mexican cities have walls. European cities have walls. But north of Mexico, in all of Canada and the United States, only Quebec. Only here do the walls still stand, still surround, still define. These aren't reconstructions, aren't replicas, aren't modern recreations. These are the original walls, the actual fortifications, the real stone that protected this city for centuries. Walking Quebec's walls is walking through history, touching what defenders touched, seeing what centuries saw. The walls making history tangible, making the past present, making 400 years feel immediate. The city is split into 2 levels. This geography defines everything, shapes everything, creates the city's character and identity. Hauteville, Upper Town, perched on the cliffs, high above the river, commanding, strategic, safe, and Basseville, Lower Town, at the water's edge, by the docks, where ships arrive, where trade happens, where the city meets the world. 2 cities, 2 levels, 2 different worlds, connected but separate. One looking down, one looking up. The cliff, creating division, creating distinction, creating the dramatic vertical geography that makes Quebec unlike anywhere else. To get between the 2 levels, to travel from high to low or low to high, you can take the funiculaire, a steep cable car, a small enclosed cabin that has been sliding up and down the cliff since 1879. 1879, over 140 years. The same concept, the same purpose, the same route, carrying people between levels, between worlds, between the upper and lower cities. The ride is steep, the angle dramatic, the cliff passing close outside the windows, the funicular climbing steadily, smoothly, connecting what geography separated, making the vertical navigable, making the two cities one. The city sits on a massive rock formation called Cap Diamant, Cape Diamond. This isn't just a hill, not just elevated ground, but a true geological formation. Ancient rock, hard rock, rising dramatically from the river, creating the natural fortress that made Quebec defensible, that made it the Gibraltar of North America. The rock is foundation, is platform, is natural defense. The cliff face steep, nearly vertical in places, impossible to climb with hostile intent. The rock making Quebec safe, making it secure, making it the perfect place for a fortress city. Early explorers named it Cape Diamond, named it for a discovery, for sparkling quartz they found, glittering in the rock, catching light, looking valuable, looking precious. They thought these sparkles were real diamonds, genuine gemstones, wealth just sitting here, free for the taking. They were wrong. It was just quartz, just crystalline stone, just minerals that happened to sparkle. No commercial value, no wealth, but the name stuck. Cape Diamond, named for a mistake, for hope, for the human tendency to see what we want rather than what is. The sparkling quartz still there, still glittering, still beautiful even if not valuable, still catching light on the ancient rock. Place Royale in the lower town. This square, this open space surrounded by stone buildings, is the exact site where Champlain built his first wooden habitation, the very spot, the precise location, where Quebec began, where the settlement started, where French America was born. The original building is long gone, replaced by stone, by permanence, by architecture meant to last, but the square remains, the location unchanged, the ground itself remembering the wooden walls, the French voices, the beginning, Place Royale standing as witness, as memorial, as connection to 1608, to Champlain, to the founding moment. This square is often called the birthplace of French America, not metaphorically, but literally. This is where it started, where French colonization began, where the French language, French culture, French influence in North America took root, grew, spread. From this square, from this spot, French America expanded, west to the Great Lakes, south along the Mississippi, creating a French arc across the continent, New France, Louisiana, the French presence that would shape North America's future, all beginning here, in this square, at this spot, where Champlain built, where Quebec started, where French America was born. The St. Lawrence River at Quebec is over 100 feet deep. 100 feet? 30 meters. Deep enough for anything. For the largest ships. For ocean-going vessels. For ships that seem impossibly big. These giant ships can pass silently right next to the historic walls, right beside the old city. Modern container ships, cruise ships, cargo vessels, passing within feet of 400-year-old stone. The contrast is striking, is surreal, is the past and present meeting in the most literal way. The walls that defended against wooden sailing ships now watch as steel giants glide past. The river deep enough to accommodate both, to connect Quebec to the world, to the ocean, to everywhere. The city was a walled fortress, Not just a city that happened to have walls, but a fortress first. A military installation, a strategic strong point. Because Quebec was the gateway, the key, the entrance to the heart of the continent. Control Quebec, and you control the St. Lawrence. Control the St. Lawrence, and you control access to the interior, to the Great Lakes, to the Mississippi watershed, to everything. Quebec wasn't just a city to be defended. Quebec was a fortress that happened to have a city inside. Defense was primary, was essential, was the reason Quebec existed at all. The citadel of Quebec, this massive fortification, this star-shaped fortress, still stands, still functions, is still an active military base today. Not a museum, not a historic site preserved in amber, but working military infrastructure, soldiers stationed here, duties performed, military tradition continuing. The citadel is also the official residence of both the King of Canada and the Governor-General when they visit. When official business brings them here, they stay in the citadel, in the fortress, in rooms within the star-shaped walls. Royalty and military, tradition and function, history and present, all combined in this one remarkable place, the Plains of Abraham. This massive park, this open grassland high on the plateau, was once a battlefield. The battlefield, where the fate of the continent was decided. In 1759, British forces under General Wolfe faced French forces under the Marquis de Montcalm. The battle lasted less than an hour, but changed everything. British victory, French defeat, the end of New France, the beginning of British North America, the battle that determined whether North America would speak English or French, would follow British or French law, would develop under British or French influence, all decided here, in less than an hour, on these plains. Today, the Plains of Abraham are a place of total silence and peace. The cannons gone, the soldiers gone, the violence forgotten, replaced by grass, by trees, by walking paths, by people enjoying open space. In winter, people cross-country ski here, in the moonlight, gliding silently across snow, under stars. The battlefield transformed into recreation, into peace, into beauty. The blood absorbed, the trauma healed, the past integrated. The plains now offering what they couldn't in 1759. Quiet, calm, space to breathe, space to be. Quebec City has a lower town street called Petit-Champlain, Little Champlain, often voted the most beautiful street in Canada. Not just beautiful, not just charming, but the most beautiful. Among all Canadian streets, this narrow lane, this pedestrian passage, with stone buildings pressing close, with shops and cafes, with lights strung overhead, with flowers in summer, with snow in winter. Beautiful in every season, in every light, in every weather. The street curves gently, slopes, creates perspective, creates charm, creates the feeling that you've stepped into a painting, into a story, into something preserved but alive. The most beautiful street in Canada. Quite a claim, but walk Petit-Champlain and you understand. You see, you believe. The breakneck steps, escalier, casse-cou, the city's oldest stairs, built in 1635, just 27 years after the city's founding. These stairs connect upper and lower town, climb the cliff face, navigate the vertical geography. The name, breakneck, suggests danger, suggests risk, suggests these stairs are treacherous, deadly. But the name misleads. Despite the scary name, the stairs are a beautiful, slow climb, with glowing lanterns at every turn, with rest platforms, with views, with character, Steep, yes. Challenging, yes. But not dangerous, not breakneck. Just atmospheric, just historic, just lovely in their age and their purpose and their place. The St. Charles River meets the St. Lawrence here. Two rivers joining, two flows combining, creating a quiet basin, a protected harbour, where the tide gently rises and falls. The St. Charles smaller, gentler, meeting the mighty St. Lawrence, the confluence creating calm water, creating shelter, creating the harbour where Quebec's port developed, where ships could anchor safely, where trade could happen, protected from the river's current, from the St. Lawrence's power, the two rivers meeting, the basin forming, the geography creating opportunity, creating Quebec's harbour, creating the place where the city could thrive. In the winter, when cold grips the north, when temperatures plunge, giant ice floes drift down the river, massive chunks of ice, broken from upriver, floating with the current. These flows clink against each other, touch, separate, touch again, creating sound, a metallic, melodic sound, the sound of winter, the sound of ice on ice, musical, haunting, beautiful, the river transforming, becoming solid, becoming dangerous, becoming something that makes navigation impossible, that stops ships, that isolates Quebec, the ice flows marking winter's arrival, announcing cold, creating their particular music, their winter song, their frozen symphony. The city was once the capital of New France, not just an important city, not just a major settlement, but the capital, the seat of government, the center of administration. New France, this territory, this claim, stretched all the way to Louisiana, from Quebec to the Gulf of Mexico, the entire Mississippi watershed, the Great Lakes, the plains, all claimed by France, all administered from Quebec. Imagine that, the scope, the ambition, the geographic extent. Quebec as capital of half a continent, of territory larger than France itself, the city punching above its weight, small population, massive territory, Quebec as administrative center, as symbolic heart, as capital of French dreams in America, the Grand Battery, a line of heavy iron cannons, sitting on the cliffside, pointing toward the river, toward the approach, toward any threat that might come by water. These cannons have sat silent for centuries, never fired in anger again, never needed, never called upon to defend, just sitting, watching, waiting, the iron aging, weathering, developing patina, but enduring. The cannons as sculpture now, as reminder, as symbol of when Quebec was fortress, was military installation, was last line of defense. The Grand Battery, silent, peaceful, historical, but still commanding, still impressive, still declaring, Quebec was defended. Quebec was serious. Quebec was ready. The stone used to build the city was quarried nearby. Local stone, native stone, cut from the bedrock of the region. This gives the buildings a uniform quality, a consistent appearance, a soft grey glow. Not stark white, not dark grey, but soft, subtle, gentle grey, the colour of clouds, of mist, of morning light. This uniformity creates harmony, creates coherence, makes the city feel integrated, feel whole, feel like it grew organically rather than being assembled from disparate parts. The stone speaking of place, of geology, of building from what's available, of using what the land provides. The soft grey stone giving Quebec its particular appearance, its gentle visual character, its unified aesthetic. At night, when darkness settles, the mist from the river often rolls up the cliffs, rising, climbing, swallowing the lower town in a thick white blanket, erasing the buildings, hiding the streets, creating atmosphere, creating mystery. The fog rolling in from the water, climbing the cliff face, reaching for the upper town, sometimes engulfing both levels, sometimes stopping halfway, creating a division. Upper town floating above clouds, lower town disappeared beneath them. The mist transforming Quebec, making it ethereal, making it otherworldly, making it feel like a city suspended between earth and sky, between solid and vapor, between real and dreamlike. The original wooden gates of the city, the first entrances through the fortifications, were eventually replaced, upgraded, made permanent, replaced by the stone gates we see today, the porte, like Port Saint-Louis. These gates are massive, thick, impressive, with arched passages, with defensive positions, with the ability to be closed, to be secured, to keep the city safe. The stone gates replacing wood, permanence replacing temporary, fortress replacing settlement. The gates still standing, still functional, still used, still controlling access, still marking the boundary between inside and outside, between Quebec and the world beyond. The stone gates enduring, witnessing, watching centuries pass while remaining essentially unchanged. Walk with me now through this city of stone, this fortress on a cliff, where Champlain chose, where the river narrows, where walls still stand, where two levels create two worlds, where the funicular climbs, where Cape Diamond rises, where sparkling quartz fooled explorers, where Place Royale marks the beginning, where French America was born, where deep water brings giant ships, where the fortress guards, where the citadel still serves, where plains of Abraham remember and forget, where Petit-Champlain charms, where breakneck steps climb safely, where two rivers meet, where ice flows sing, where New France governed, where cannons sit silent, where soft grey stone glows, where mist rolls up cliffs, where stone gates endure. This is Quebec, ancient by North American standards, young by European ones, a city that feels like France but isn't, that speaks French but is Canadian, that honors the past while living in the present, that preserves while evolving, that remains walled in an era that abandoned walls, that stays fortified when fortification became obsolete. Quebec persists, endures, continues, 416 years and counting. The rock providing foundation, the river providing life, the walls providing identity, the stone providing permanence. The city sits on its cliff, watches its river, guards its gates, remembers its founding, honors Champlain, speaks French, preserves walls, operates the funicular, lights the lanterns, floats in mist, glows grey, stands ready. Quebec doesn't change quickly, doesn't chase trends, doesn't reinvent itself constantly. It knows what it is. Fortress, French, historic, beautiful. It accepts this, embraces this, lives this. Being Quebec fully, completely, without apology, without compromise. The rock endures, Cap Diamant standing, the quartz still sparkling, the cliff still rising, the geography still shaping everything. The St. Lawrence still flowing, still narrowing here, still bringing ships, still connecting to the ocean, the basin still sheltering, the confluent still creating harbor, the ice flows still drifting in winter, the rivers still meeting, the water still rising and falling with the tide, the natural features that made Quebec possible still present, still functioning, still defining place, and the human additions, the walls, the gates, the citadel, the buildings, the streets, the stairs, the funicular, all built to work with the rock, with the river, with the geography, not fighting nature but accommodating it, using it, enhancing it, the city and the landscape integrated, working together, creating something neither could create alone. Quebec as collaboration, as partnership, between human and natural, between stone and water, between vision and place. Rest now with these images, Champlain choosing this spot, the river narrowing, the walls standing, the two levels dividing, the funicular climbing, the rock rising, the quartz sparkling, the habitation beginning, the river deepening, ships gliding past walls, the fortress guarding, the citadel serving, the plains remembering, Petit-Champlain charming, the breakneck steps climbing, the rivers meeting, the ice singing, New France governing, the cannons waiting, the stone glowing, the mist rising, the gates opening. Let Quebec settle around you. Let its stone embrace you. Let its river soothe you. Let its age ground you. 416 years. The rock and the river, the fortress and the flow, the walls and the water. Quebec enduring. Quebec continuing. Quebec being itself. Completely. Beautifully. Eternally. The Fairmont Le Château Frontenac. Say the name slowly. Let it roll. Fairmont, Le Chateau, Frontenac. This hotel, this building, this landmark is the most photographed hotel in the world. Not just in Canada, not just in North America, in a world. More photographs than any other hotel, more images captured, more cameras pointed, more tourists standing in front of it, smiling, remembering, documenting that they were here, that they saw this castle rising above the river, this impossible building that looks like it should be in France, in the Loire Valley, but stands instead on a cliff in Canada, above the St. Lawrence, the Château Frontenac, the most photographed hotel in the world. It was built by the Canadian Pacific Railway in 1893, built not just as a hotel, but as strategy, as enticement, as advertisement for a country. The railway wanted to encourage wealthy travelers, American travelers, European travelers, people with money, with time, with desire for adventure, to explore the wilds of Canada, to come north, to experience the wilderness, but in luxury, in comfort, in style. The railway understood. People wanted adventure, but not too much adventure. They wanted wilderness accessible, nature domesticated, the exotic made comfortable. So they built grand hotels across Canada, and the grandest, the most spectacular, the most impossible, was the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec, on the cliff, dominating the skyline, announcing, here you can have both. Here you can have wilderness and luxury, adventure and comfort. Canada and Chateau. The hotel is named after Louis de Bois, Count of Frontenac, a fiery governor of New France, a man of temper and determination who governed from 1672 to 1698, who defended Quebec, who refused to surrender the city to the English when Admiral Phipps demanded surrender in 1690. Frontenac's response was legendary, defiant. He said he would answer from the mouths of his cannons. No surrender, no compromise. Fight. The English attacked. Quebec held. Frontenac prevailed. The city remained French. The governor became legend. And nearly 2 centuries later, when the railway built that castle, they named it for him, for his defiance, for his spirit, for his refusal to yield. The Château Frontenac, named for a man who wouldn't surrender. Standing on the cliff he defended, though it looks like a medieval castle, though it appears ancient, though it seems like it should have existed for centuries. It's relatively modern, designed in the Chateau-esque style. This style, popular in the late 19th century, combines French Renaissance and Gothic details. The steep roofs, the turrets, the towers, the copper roofing, the dormers, the decorative stonework, all drawn from French chateaux, from Renaissance palaces, from Gothic cathedrals, but assembled, combined, reimagined, creating something that evokes history without copying it. The Château Frontenac looks medieval, feels ancient, but was built when electricity was new, when telephones were modern, when the 19th century was ending and the 20th beginning. A castle built in the age of railways, a medieval vision made real with modern technology. The hotel has over 600 guest rooms. 600? Imagine. And over 7 miles of hallways. 7 miles. For staff to navigate, for housekeepers to walk, for room service to traverse. 7 miles of corridor, of passage, of internal streets within this castle. The hotel is enormous, is a village, is a city within a city, with its own restaurants, its own bars, its own ballrooms, its own systems, its own life. The staff walking miles each day, each shift, navigating the labyrinth, knowing which hallway leads where, which elevator reaches which floor, which room is in which tower. The Château Frontenac as maze, as puzzle, as place requiring knowledge, requiring familiarity, requiring years to truly understand. During World War II, when the world was at war, when democracy hung in balance, the Chateau hosted the Quebec conferences, secret meetings, critical gatherings. Winston Churchill came, Franklin Delano Roosevelt came, the leaders of the free world, meeting in secret, in Quebec, in the Chateau, planning, strategizing, making decisions that would shape the war's outcome. They met here to plan the D-Day landings, the invasion of Normandy, the assault that would begin the liberation of Europe. These conversations, these decisions, these plans, all made in rooms within this hotel, within this castle on the cliff. History's hinges turning in guest rooms and conference halls. The Château Frontenac as more than hotel, as stage for world events, as place where the future was decided. The hotel sits on the site of the former Château Saint-Louis, the original governor's residence, the palace where New France's governors lived and ruled. This earlier chateau stood for over 150 years, until 1834, when it burned down, fire consuming the palace, destroying the structure, leaving only ruins, only memories, only the strategic location on the cliff. The new chateau, the hotel, built on the same spot, on the same foundations in some places, continuing the tradition, maintaining the location. The cliff top has held government, has held power, has held prominence for centuries. The Château Frontenac inheriting this legacy, this position, this meaning. Today you can visit an underground archaeological crypt beneath the hotel's terrace, beneath the wooden walkway, beneath the tourists taking photographs. The crypt preserves ruins, stone foundations, wall remnants, artifacts, the remains of the old palace, of the Château Saint-Louis. Visitors descend, enter the underground, walk through carefully preserved excavations, see the stones that held governors, that supported New France, that witnessed history. The crypt is quiet, cool, dimly lit, respectful, allowing the ruins to speak, allowing history to be present, allowing the past to coexist with the hotel above, the old chateau and the new chateau, separated by time and tragedy, connected by place and purpose. The Dufferin Terrace, This massive wooden boardwalk, this promenade, wraps around the hotel, extends along the cliff edge, made of wooden planks, wide enough for crowds, for strollers, for vendors, for life. The terrace offers a bird's-eye view of the river, 200 feet below, 200 feet of vertical drop. From the terrace to the water, the view is spectacular, is panoramic, is sweeping. You can see for miles, can watch ships, can see the opposite shore, can understand the geography, the strategic importance, the reason Quebec exists here. The terrace providing perspective, providing height, providing the sense of being above, of commanding, of surveying, the boardwalk creaking gently under footsteps, the wood weathering in the elements, the terrace becoming silver with age, with exposure, with centuries of sun and rain and snow. In the winter, when snow falls thick, when cold grips the city, the terrace features something special, something thrilling, a century-old toboggan slide, built in 1884, over 130 years of operation, a long wooden chute descending the cliff. Steep, fast, exhilarating, sleds reach speeds of 70 kilometers per hour. 70, flying down the ice, down the slide, the cliff face passing in a blur, the wind sharp, the speed breathtaking, people screaming with joy, with terror, with excitement. The toboggan slide as tradition, as winter celebration, as proof that Quebec embraces cold rather than fighting it, uses winter rather than enduring it, celebrates ice and snow rather than cursing them. The slide still operating, still thrilling, still carrying riders down the cliff at speeds that seem impossible, that seem dangerous, but are just exhilarating, just fun, just Quebec being Quebec. The Cathedral Basilica of Notre-Dame de Quebec. This church, this sacred space, is the oldest parish north of Mexico, dating back to 1647. 1647, just 39 years after Quebec's founding. The church nearly as old as the city, growing with it, serving it, being its spiritual heart. The cathedral rebuilt several times, damaged by war, by fire, by time, but always rising again, always reconstructed, always continuing. The current building Baroque, ornate, beautiful, with gold and paint and carved wood, with sacred art and precious objects, with centuries of devotion embedded in stone and symbol. Inside the cathedral lies something rare, something precious, a holy door, one of only 8 in the world, 8 total, and the only one outside of Europe. This holy door, this portal, is usually sealed with cement, closed, solid, impassable, only open during Jubilee years, special years designated by the Catholic Church, years of grace, years of pilgrimage, years when sins can be forgiven through holy acts. During Jubilee, the cement is removed, the door is opened, and pilgrims can walk through, can pass through this portal, can receive the spiritual benefits, the blessings, the grace, the door opening rarely, closing between jubilees, waiting sealed until called to open again. The holy door as threshold, as boundary between ordinary and sacred, between normal time and holy time, between closed and open, between sealed and accessible. The Ursuline convent nearby, founded in 1639, just 31 years after Quebec, founded by Marie de l'Incarnation, a French nun, a mystic, a woman of extraordinary faith and determination. The convent is the oldest institution of learning for women in North America, the oldest. For 383 years, this convent has educated women, has provided learning, has created opportunities, has believed in women's education, when many didn't. When many thought women didn't need education, didn't deserve it. The Ursuline sisters disagreed, built their convent, opened their school, taught generations, centuries, the institution enduring, continuing, still teaching, still serving, still believing in education, in knowledge, in empowering women through learning. The convent's chapel contains something extraordinary, something holy, something preserved. The heart of Saint Marie of the Incarnation, the founder, her physical heart, removed after death, preserved in a lead box, kept in the chapel. This practice, preserving relics, seems strange to modern minds, seems macabre, but represents deep reverence, deep connection, the belief that saints remain present through their remains, that the physical carries the spiritual, that Marie's heart, kept here, keeps her present, keeps her watching over the institution she founded, the lead box containing her heart, sealed, protected, honored, the heart that beat with faith, with determination, with love of God and love of education, now still preserved, eternal. Many of the city's old buildings have steep, shiny tin roofs, not the gentle slopes of warmer climates, but dramatic angles, sharp pitches, designed for function, for survival, to shed the heavy Canadian snow, to prevent accumulation, to keep buildings from collapsing under winter's weight. The tin reflects sun, bounces heat in summer, sheds water in rain, sheds snow in winter. The roof's practical, essential, but also beautiful. The tin catching light, the metal gleaming, the roofs creating skyline, creating silhouette, creating visual interest, function becoming beauty, necessity becoming art. At night, when darkness settles, when street lamps glow, these metal roofs catch the moonlight, the tin reflecting, the metal mirroring the moon, creating shimmer, creating glow, making the city look like it's made of silver, like the buildings are precious metal, like Quebec is treasure, is jewel. The moonlight on tin roofs transforming the ordinary, making the practical magical, the city glowing softly, reflecting celestial light, the roofs becoming stars, becoming mirrors, becoming beauty that only night reveals, that only moonlight creates. Quebec in moonlight, Silver City, metal gleaming, roofs glowing, magic made from tin and light. The Price Building, the city's only Art Deco skyscraper, built during the Great Depression, 1931, when the world economy collapsed, when building stopped everywhere. The Price Building rose anyway, defying the times, declaring optimism, declaring faith in the future. The building is Art Deco, that style of the 20s and 30s, geometric, streamlined, modern, with setbacks creating ziggurat profile, with decorative elements restrained but present, with copper roof. Copper chosen deliberately, chosen to match the chateau, to harmonize, to fit Quebec's aesthetic. The only skyscraper keeping company with the castle, the modern respecting the traditional, the 20th century acknowledging the 19th, the Price Building being tall, being modern, but being Quebecois, being appropriate, being part of rather than apart from. The architecture of the city is strictly protected, regulated, preserved. Quebec takes its appearance seriously, believes architecture defines identity, creates atmosphere, makes the city what it is. Even the McDonald's in the old town has no bright red signs, no golden arches glowing, no corporate branding overwhelming. Instead, a subtle gold M, elegant, understated, blending in, respecting context. The fast food chain conforming to the historic city, rather than the city conforming to corporate identity. This regulation, this protection, keeps Quebec distinct, keeps it special, keeps it looking like itself rather than like everywhere else. The city saying, our appearance matters. Our aesthetic is not negotiable. If you want to be here, you follow our rules. You respect our character. You blend or you leave. The Morin Center. This building has layers, has history, has transformation. It was once the city's first jail. Dark, severe, punishing. Stone walls holding prisoners, cells confining bodies. The building serving justice, serving punishment, serving society's need to separate criminals from community. But today it is something entirely different. A stunning, silent Victorian library, filled with ancient books, with leather volumes, with texts in English and French. The transformation complete, from punishment to knowledge, from confinement to liberation, from darkness to enlightenment. The cells gone, the bars removed, the space reimagined, bookshelves where prisoners slept, reading rooms where punishment happened, light where darkness ruled. Legend says the ghost of a prisoner still wanders, still walks the library's dark wood-paneled balconies, still searches, still haunts, maybe seeking justice, maybe seeking freedom, maybe just unable to leave. The story unprovable, the ghost unseen by most. But the legend persists, visitors reporting cold spots, unusual feelings, sensations of being watched, the library staff knowing the stories, sometimes experiencing the unexplained, the prisoner ghost as keeper of memory, as reminder of what was, as connection to the building's darker past, the ghost wandering among books, among knowledge, perhaps finding in death the education denied in life, perhaps finally free even while confined to this building, perhaps at peace in the library that grew from the jail, the Maison Chevalier. This house, this residence, is a classic example of 18th century urban architecture. Not urban as we understand it, not apartment building, not skyscraper, but urban for Quebec in 1750, built with thick stone walls, massive walls, not for show, not for appearance, but for survival, to withstand the freezing winters, to keep heat inside, to keep cold outside. The walls so thick a person could sit in a window seat surrounded by stone, the stone as insulation, as thermal mass, absorbing heat in summer, releasing it slowly in winter. The building designed for Quebec's climate, for Canadian extremes, for weather that kills the unprepared. The Maison Chevalier surviving, enduring, standing as example of building correctly, of understanding place, of working with climate rather than ignoring it. In the lower town, down by the water, down where the city began, the church of Notre Dame des Victoires stands, Our Lady of Victories, named not for one victory, but for victories plural, for survival, for Quebec's repeated survival of English sieges, for beating back attempts to conquer, to capture, to take the city, the church celebrating survival, celebrating resistance, celebrating endurance, the name a declaration, a boast, a reminder. We survived, we prevailed, we remain. The church, small, intimate, beautiful, not grand like the cathedral, but precious, beloved, central to lower town identity. The church where sailors prayed, where merchants worshipped, where Quebec's working people gathered. A model ship hangs from the ceiling of the church, suspended, floating above the congregation, a gift from sailors, from men who crossed the Atlantic, who faced storms, who knew ocean's power, who prayed for safe passage, who promised, if we survive, If we reach Quebec safely, we'll give thanks, we'll offer gifts. The ship hangs still, swaying slightly with air currents, with heating systems, with the building breathing, the ship forever sailing, forever crossing, forever making the voyage, the sailors long dead, the ship remaining, witnessing, blessing, watching over new generations, new voyages, new prayers for safe passage, as the cathedral bells chime the hour, as the mechanism releases, as the hammers strike, the sound bounces off the stone walls, off the buildings, off the cliffs, creating a layered echo. Not one chime, but many. The sound multiplying, reflecting, creating complexity, creating richness. The echo can be heard across the river, can reach the far shore, can announce the hour to the entire region. The bells as voice, as announcement, as declaration that time passes, that hours change, that life continues. The layered echo making the bells more than sound, making them architecture, making them geography, making them Quebec itself calling out, marking time, declaring presence, being heard. Walk with me now through this architectural heart, this castle in the sky, where the Château Frontenac towers, where railway vision created landmark, where Frontenac's name honors defiance, where Chateau-esque style creates fairy tale, where 600 rooms fill 7 miles, where Churchill and FDR planned invasion, where the old chateau burned, where the crypt preserves ruins, where the terrace offers bird's view, where toboggans fly down winter's slope, where Notre Dame Cathedral stands oldest, where the holy door seals and opens, where Ursulines taught for centuries, where Marie's heart rests in lead, where tin roofs shed snow and catch moon, where Art Deco respects Chateau, where McDonald's uses gold instead of red, where the Morin Centre transformed from jail to library, where ghosts walk among books, where Maison Chevalier's walls withstand winters, where Notre Dame de Victoire celebrates survival, where the model ship sails eternally, where bells echo across the river. This is Quebec's architectural soul, its built beauty, its designed identity, the buildings creating atmosphere, creating experience, creating sense of place, the castle hotel dominating, announcing, declaring, this is special, this is different, this is worth photographing, worth visiting, worth remembering, the religious buildings serving, preserving faith, maintaining tradition, connecting to centuries of belief, the regulations protecting, maintaining, ensuring Quebec stays Quebec, doesn't become generic, doesn't lose character to commerce. The architecture tells stories, speaks history, shows values. The chateau showing ambition, vision, desire to attract, to impress. The cathedral showing faith, continuity, spiritual centrality. The convent showing commitment to education, to women, to service. The Price building showing modernity, respecting tradition. The Morin Centre showing transformation, redemption, new purpose for old buildings. The houses showing adaptation to climate, understanding of place, working with environment. The church showing gratitude, survival, community, and the ghost. The ghost in the library, the prisoner forever walking, forever searching, forever confined and free simultaneously. The ghost as metaphor, perhaps, as Quebec itself, forever walking its own history, forever searching for identity, forever confined by past but free in present, forever both European and North American, forever both French and Canadian, forever both old and new. The ghost moving among books, among knowledge, among stories, just as Quebec moves among centuries, among cultures, among possibilities. Rest now in this castle, in this sky city, in this place where architecture soars, where buildings tell stories, where stone remembers, where tin gleams, where copper ages, where bells echo, where ghosts walk, where ships sail frozen in air, where hearts rest in lead boxes, where doors seal until jubilee, where learning continues across centuries, where toboggans fly, where terraces offer perspective, where crypts hold ruins, where hotels hold history. Let the chateau embrace you. Let the cathedral bless you. Let the convent teach you. Let the buildings shelter you. Quebec built to last, built to impress, built to function, built to be beautiful. Buildings as identity, as expression, as home. Quebec City is known as the snow capital of the world, not just because it snows, but because it snows relentlessly, abundantly, transforming everything. The city receives an average of over 10 feet of snow every single year. 10 feet, 3 meters, more than the height of a tall person. This much snow falling, accumulating, piling, covering, burying, transforming the city into a white wonderland, into a winter kingdom, into a place where snow is not obstacle, but identity, not problem, but definition, not burden, but blessing. Quebec embraces winter, celebrates it, builds culture around it, becomes itself most fully when covered in snow, when transformed by cold, when winter claims the city completely. Because the snow is so deep and frequent, because it never stops for long, because accumulation would paralyze the city, Quebec uses a fleet of snowblowers, not simple plows, not trucks pushing snow aside, but machines that blow snow, that eat it and throw it, that consume the white and spray it away. These snowblowers move with a low rhythmic hum throughout the night, while residents sleep, while the city rests. The machines working, clearing, making movement possible, their hum constant, persistent, soothing in its own way. The sound of winter being managed, being controlled, being made livable. The low hum of snowblowers as lullaby, as proof that morning will bring clear streets, that the city functions, that Quebec knows how to live with snow, how to thrive despite it, how to turn challenge into routine. The Quebec Winter Carnival, Carnaval de Quebec, the largest winter festival in the Western world, starting in 1955. Nearly 70 years of celebrating cold, of embracing winter, of declaring that snow is reason for joy rather than misery. The carnival transforms the city, fills it with events, with music, with light, with crowds defying temperature, coming outside despite cold, because of cold, to celebrate, to play, to prove that winter doesn't imprison, doesn't limit, doesn't defeat. The carnival as declaration, as statement, as proof of Quebec's winter spirit. The mascot of the carnival is Bonhomme, a giant 7-foot-tall snowman. But not just any snowman. Bonhomme wears traditional clothing, a red ceinture fléchée, arrow sash, traditional Quebecois accessory, woven, bright, distinctive. Bonhomme representing Quebec, representing winter joy, representing the spirit that refuses to hide indoors. That comes out, that celebrates, that dances in snow and sings in cold. Bonhomme appearing at events, posing for photos, embodying the carnival, children loving him, adults recognizing him, everyone knowing that when Bonhomme appears, winter is being celebrated, is being honored, is being lived fully. Every year a massive ice palace is built for Bonhomme, made from thousands of tons of river ice, blocks cut from frozen water, stacked, fitted, creating castle walls, creating towers, creating architecture from frozen water. The ice palace glows, lit with colorful LEDs, changing colors, creating atmosphere, creating magic. The palace temporary, melting when winter ends, but rebuilt next year, and the next, and the next. The ice palace as annual tradition, as demonstration of skill, as art that exists only in winter, only in cold, only in Quebec. The palace standing proud, hosting bonhomme, hosting visitors, hosting the spirit of carnival, then melting away, returning to water, waiting for next winter's resurrection. The tradition of the Ice Hotel, Hôtel de Glace, started nearby, in the Quebec region, the only one of its kind in North America. A hotel built entirely of ice, of snow, of frozen water shaped into walls and roofs and furniture, every room carved with a different theme, different design, different atmosphere. Artists creating spaces from ice, sculpting cold, making frozen water beautiful, making winter habitable. The beds made of solid ice blocks, solid, frozen, covered in deer, pelts, furs providing insulation, providing warmth, creating the possibility of sleep, of rest, of surviving a night in a building made of ice. Guests arriving with sleeping bags, with warm clothes, with adventure in their hearts, sleeping in ice, waking to ice, experiencing winter in its most pure form. Sleeping in the ice hotel is incredibly silent, more silent than normal buildings, because the thick ice walls act as natural soundproofing. Sound can't travel through dense ice, can't penetrate frozen water. The walls absorbing, muffling, creating silence so complete it's almost disturbing, almost unnatural. Just your breathing, your heartbeat, the slight rustle of sleeping bag, nothing else. No traffic, no neighbors, no city sounds, just silence, cold, stillness. The ice creating perfect quiet, perfect isolation, perfect peace. Sleep in ice and you sleep in silence. Wake in ice and you wake to stillness. The Ice Hotel offering what no other hotel can. Complete quiet, complete separation from sound, complete immersion in winter's peace. A favorite winter treat, a beloved tradition, maple taffy on snow. Simple, pure, delicious. Hot maple syrup, real maple syrup. Boiled, heated, poured onto fresh snow. The contrast creating magic. Hot meeting cold, sweet meeting clean. The syrup cooling instantly. Becoming taffy, becoming chewy, becoming perfect. Rolled onto a wooden stick. Eaten immediately. The taste of Quebec winter, the taste of maple and snow, the taste of simple pleasure, of tradition continued, of winter celebrated through sweetness. Children love it. Adults remember it. Everyone recognizes it as quintessentially Quebecois, as uniquely here, as winter made delicious. During the winter, the fountain in front of the Parliament building transforms. The Fontaine de Tournai, this beautiful bronze fountain, imported from France, usually flowing with water, but in winter, in deep cold, often encased in a glass house of ice. The spray freezing, the water solidifying mid-air, creating sculpture, creating beauty from temperature, the fountain becoming ice palace, becoming frozen artwork, the ice building naturally, organically, layer by layer as spray freezes, creating forms never quite the same twice. The fountain turned ice sculpture standing before the Parliament, standing as testament to cold, to winter's artistic power, to beauty that exists only in freezing temperatures. The city's inhabitants practice cocooning. This cultural focus, this deliberate approach, making the indoors as warm and inviting as possible during the cold months. Cocooning as philosophy, as survival strategy, as way of life. When outside is hostile, when temperature kills, when winter threatens, make inside perfect. Make inside sanctuary. Make inside so warm and welcoming, you don't mind being driven there. Don't resent confinement. Find joy in shelter. Quebecois homes filled with warm colors, soft lighting, comfortable furniture, candles burning, tea always ready, blankets abundant, every home a refuge, every interior a cocoon. Protection not just from cold, but from cold psychological effects, from darkness, from isolation, from winter's ability to depress. Cocooning as resistance, as celebration of inside, as making winter livable through creating perfect homes. Most old Quebec homes feature a vestibule, a tiny double-door entry, 2 sets of doors with small space between, designed deliberately, precisely, to trap the cold air, to create buffer. You open the first door, enter the vestibule, close the first door behind you, stand in the small space, open the second door, enter the warm house, the vestibule preventing cold air from rushing in, from flooding the home, from stealing heat, the space between doors catching cold, holding it, keeping it outside. This simple architectural feature, this small innovation, makes Quebec winters survivable, makes homes warmer, makes fuel go further. The vestibule as necessity, as intelligence, as understanding climate and working with it. The Gare du Palais, the train station, looks like a royal castle, not by accident, not by chance. Designed in 1915, designed deliberately to match the architecture of the Château Frontenac, to harmonize, to create cohesive aesthetic, to make Quebec feel unified, feel designed, feel intentional. The station with turrets, with steep roofs, with chateau-esque details, looking like it belongs, like it grew from the same vision, like it's part of the same dream. At night, the station's high vaulted ceilings and marble floors create atmosphere. Soft, echoing, the sounds of travelers bouncing gently, footsteps multiplying, voices carrying. The station as cathedral to transportation, as beautiful space-serving function, as place where leaving and arriving happen with dignity, with grace, with beauty. In the 1800s, residents used ice bridges, frozen paths across the St. Lawrence River. When winter was deep enough, when ice was thick enough, when the river froze solid, people would walk across, drive sleighs across, cross to the neighboring town of Lévis, the ice bridge as winter highway, as seasonal route, as connection possible only when temperature allowed, to keep the paths safe, to mark the route. They would plant evergreen trees in the ice, small trees, standing upright, frozen into place, marking the road, creating visible trail. During snowstorms when white erased everything, when visibility dropped to nothing, the evergreens guided, showed the way, kept travelers on safe ice, away from thin spots, away from danger. The trees as markers, as guardians, as silent sentinels standing in frozen river. The canoe race across the river, a legendary tradition, a test, a challenge. Teams must push their boats over giant shifting ice floes, not paddle continuously, but push and paddle alternately. Ice blocking water, water blocking ice. The river neither fully frozen nor fully liquid. The race requiring strength, requiring courage, requiring skill. Teams pushing boats over ice, then jumping in, paddling across water, then out again, pushing, climbing, sliding, struggling. The ice floes shifting, moving, dangerous, unpredictable. The race as tradition, as display, as proof of toughness, as celebration of those who worked this river, who crossed in winter, who refused to let ice stop them. The city's streetlights use a warm golden hue, not harsh white, not cold blue, but warm, golden, amber, deliberately chosen to contrast with the blue shadows cast by white snow. Snow in moonlight looks blue. Snow in shadow looks blue, the white reflecting blue wavelengths, creating cold-looking landscape. But the golden streetlights fight this. Create warmth, create visual comfort. The golden light making snow look less cold, making winter feel less harsh, making the city feel welcoming even in freezing darkness. The lighting choice as psychology, as understanding how light affects mood, how colour affects feeling. The golden glow saying, this city is warm, is welcoming, is home even in winter. Rue de la Fabrique, this street, lined with boutiques, with shops, during December stays lit up all night. Every night, the stores keeping lights on, creating glow, creating atmosphere, creating glittering canyon effect. Walking down this street at night, in December, in winter, surrounded by light and snow, feeling like walking through jewelry box, through treasure chest, through something precious and magical. The canyon of light contrasting with dark sky, with winter night, the street becoming destination, becoming experience. People walking just to see, just to feel, just to be surrounded by light in darkness, by warmth in cold, by beauty in winter. Montmorency Falls, just outside the city, a massive waterfall, higher than Niagara, 98 feet higher, more vertical drop, more dramatic, less wide but taller. The falls thundering year-round, never stopping, never freezing completely. In winter, the mist from the falls freezes, the spray coating everything, creating ice formations, creating the giant white mound known as the sugar loaf, pan de sucre. This mound of frozen spray, this ice mountain, growing all winter, layer by layer. The mist freezing on contact, building structure, building sculpture. The sugar loaf becoming destination, becoming attraction. People climbing it, playing on it, taking photos with it. The frozen mist creating something that shouldn't exist. Creating mountain from spray. Creating solid from vapor. Winter magic made visible. The Ile d'Orléans Bridge connects the city to a nearby island. This island, this place, has remained frozen in the 18th century. Not literally frozen, but unchanged. Traditional, preserved, filled with silent farmhouses, with agricultural buildings, with the rhythm of rural life. The island feeling separate, feeling removed from modernity, from city pace, from contemporary life. Crossing the bridge feels like time travel, like entering the past, like visiting Quebec as it was centuries ago. The farmhouses standing silent, waiting, the fields spreading, the lifestyle continuing, the island as living museum, as preservation, as reminder of how Quebec lived, how it survived, how it thrived before modernity arrived. Many locals keep winter gardens, not actual gardens, not growing vegetables, but potted evergreens on their balconies, small trees, shrubs, green growing things that survive cold, decorated with tiny white lights, creating glow, creating life, creating green in white, creating beauty in winter. The winter gardens as defiance, as insistence on life, as refusal to let everything die, to let everything go dormant. The evergreens staying green, the lights glowing, the balconies decorated. Winter made beautiful, made celebratory, made into season to embrace rather than endure. The sound of the snowplows scraping the pavement at 3 a.m. This sound, this particular noise, metal on pavement, blade on road, scraping, grinding, moving snow. This sound is signature, is distinctive, is the lullaby for many Quebec City residents. Not disturbing, not unwelcome, but reassuring, comforting, proving the city works, proving streets will be clear, proving winter is being managed. The sound of plows at 3 a.m. saying, sleep, rest, we're working, we're clearing. Morning will bring passable streets, functional city, winter overcome, the scraping as lullaby, as comfort, as proof of care, of system working, of city functioning even while residents sleep. As the temperature drops below zero, as cold deepens, as winter tightens grip, the air becomes so still, so calm, so motionless. Sound travels differently, carries farther, becomes clearer. You can hear a church bell from miles away, across the frozen landscape, the bell ringing in city center, the sound traveling, reaching suburbs, reaching distant neighborhoods, reaching across the river. The cold, still air carrying sound perfectly, not damping it, not absorbing it, just transmitting it. Pure, clear, distinct, standing outside on frozen night, hearing distant bell, understanding distance through sound, through how long between strike and hearing. The bell as connection, as voice reaching across frozen space, as reminder that city breathes, continues, functions, even in deepest cold, even in quietest night. Walk with me now through winter Quebec, through snow capital, through carnival city, where bonhomme rules from ice palace, where ice hotel offers silent sleep, where maple taffy sweetens snow, where fountains freeze into sculpture, where cocooning makes homes perfect, where vestibules trap cold, where train stations look like castles, where ice bridges once connected, where canoe racers' battle flows, where golden streetlights glow warm, where Rue de la Fabrique glitters, where Montmorency's sugar loaf grows, where Ile d'Orléans preserves, Icare past, where winter gardens stay green, where snowplows sing lullabies, where church bells ring across frozen air. This is Quebec transformed. Quebec in its truest form. Quebec being most itself. Winter, Quebec. Cold Quebec. Snow Quebec. The city that doesn't hide from winter but celebrates it. That doesn't endure cold but embraces it. That turns challenge into identity. That makes hardship into culture. That transforms survival into art. Quebec proving that humans can thrive anywhere, can make any climate home, can turn any season into celebration, can create beauty from snow, can create joy from cold, can create community from cocooning. The winter spirit pervades everything, shapes everything, defines everything. Quebec is different in winter, not lesser, not diminished, but more itself, more alive, more beautiful. The snow covering imperfections, softening edges, creating unity. Everything white, everything clean, everything fresh. The cold creating clarity, creating stillness, creating peace. The darkness creating opportunity for light, for glow, for human warmth to matter more. Winter making inside precious, making shelter valued, making home sacred. And the lights matter so much. The golden streetlights, the lit shops, the decorated balconies, the carnival illuminations, the ice palace glow, the chateau lit at night, the churches spotlit. Every light fighting darkness, fighting cold's visual cousin. Every light saying, we're here. We're alive. We're not defeated. We're celebrating. The lights as defiance, as joy, as proof of human spirit, as Quebec refusing to let winter win, instead making winter beautiful, making winter the season when Quebec shines brightest, glows strongest, matters most. The night lights in winter create magic, create atmosphere, create experience impossible in any other season, in any other place. Walking Quebec at night in winter, snow reflecting light, buildings glowing, streets empty but lit. The cold, sharp but manageable. The silence profound but welcoming. This is when Quebec is most itself, most beautiful, most magical, most worth experiencing. The winter night, the lights, the snow, the cold, all combining, creating moment, creating memory, creating understanding of why Quebec celebrates winter, why it embraces cold, why it builds culture around snow. Because winter makes Quebec special, makes it distinct, makes it unlike anywhere else. Summer Quebec is charming, fall Quebec is beautiful, spring Quebec is pleasant, but winter Quebec is transcendent, is transformative, is when the city reveals its true character, its real identity, its deepest self. Winter separates Quebec from southern cities, from warm places, from easy climates. Winter makes Quebec work harder, try harder, be more intentional, more creative, more community-focused. Winter creates culture, creates traditions, creates the Quebec we know, the Quebec we love, the Quebec that persists. Rest now in winter's embrace, in snow's silence, in cold's clarity. Let the snow fall around you. Let the golden lights glow. Let the ice palace shimmer. Let Bonhomme welcome you. Let maple taffy sweeten your tongue. Let the ice hotel's silence surround you. Let cocooning comfort you. Let vestibules protect you. Let the train station shelter you. Let winter gardens inspire you. Let snowplows lullaby you. Let church bells connect you. Quebec in winter, Quebec in snow, Quebec in its truth, Quebec being itself completely, beautifully, eternally. The winter city, the snow capital, the place where cold is celebrated, where winter is art, where ice is architecture, where Quebec shines brightest in the darkest season. Quebec City is often called the most haunted city in North America. Not just haunted, not just with stories, but the most haunted. 400 years of stories, 400 years of lives, 400 years of deaths, all trapped in its stone walls. The stones remember, hold memories, hold energies, hold something. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, whether you accept the supernatural or dismiss it, Quebec feels different, feels older, feels inhabited by more than just the living. Walking the narrow streets at night, alone, in darkness, you feel watched, feel accompanied, feel that the past isn't past, the history isn't gone, that something remains, lingers, watches. The most haunted city. The city where 4 centuries breathe through stone, where the dead seem closer than elsewhere, where the boundary between then and now feels thin, permeable, crossable. Many people believe the ghost of Samuel de Champlain still wanders the streets, searching, always searching, for his lost grave, which has never been found, never located, never identified. Champlain died in 1635, in Quebec, the city he founded, but his burial site is unknown, lost to time, lost to record, lost to history. Some say he's in the cathedral, some say elsewhere. Some say his remains were moved, reburied, hidden. No one knows. And so the story persists. Champlain walking, looking, searching for his own grave, for his final rest, unable to find it. unable to rest. The founder condemned to wander the streets he created, to search the city he built, forever looking, forever lost, forever between life and death, between presence and absence, between history and haunting. The Lady in White is said to haunt Montmorency Falls, standing at the edge, looking down, waiting, always waiting, for her fiancé who was lost in battle centuries ago. The story varies in details, but the core remains. A woman in white dress, at the falls, waiting for someone who will never return. The white figure seen by visitors, by locals, by those who know the story and those who don't, standing where the mist rises, where the water crashes, where the spray creates rainbows and ghosts alike. The Lady in White as symbol, as memorial, as love that transcends death, as waiting that never ends, as grief frozen in eternity. The falls her station, her vigil, her eternal post, waiting, always waiting, forever waiting. In the lower town, the Auberge Saint-Antoine is built on an archaeological site, built literally on history, on layers of the past. Artifacts from the 1600s displayed in viewing boxes in the walls. Walk the hotel, see pottery, see tools, see remnants of daily life, see the past encased, protected, displayed. The hotel incorporating history, making it part of experience, making guests walk through time, sleep surrounded by centuries. The artifacts behind glass in walls, visible but protected, present but separate. The hotel as museum, as preservation, as demonstration that Quebec builds on history. Literally, physically, the past supporting the present, the old foundation for the new. The hotel standing on archaeology, standing on stories, standing on the remains of Quebec's beginning. The city's gas lamps are now electric, not actual gas, not burning fuel, but electric bulbs designed to flicker, to pulse, to mimic the soft amber glow of original 19th century flames. The flicker deliberate, programmed, creating the same quality of light, the same feeling, the same atmosphere. Walking Quebec at night feels like stepping into the past, the flickering lights contributing, creating illusion, creating immersion, the electric bulbs remembering gas, honoring history, maintaining atmosphere. Quebec refusing to modernize completely, refusing to abandon aesthetic for efficiency. The lights flickering because that's how they should flicker, because that's how Quebec should look, should feel, should be experienced. History preserved not just in buildings, but in light itself, in the quality of illumination, in the mood created by flickering amber glow. Parliament Hill features the National Assembly building, the seat of Quebec's government, the place where laws are made, where debates happen, where Quebec governs itself, decorated with 22 bronze statues, figures who shape the history of French Canada, standing watch, representing, commemorating, each statue telling a story, each figure mattering, each bronze form holding meaning. The building's motto carved above the main door. Je me souviens, I remember. Just 2 words, but profound. Quebec's motto, Quebec's identity, Quebec's promise. I remember. I remember the past. I remember who we are. I remember where we came from. I remember our language, our culture, our distinctiveness. This motto now on every license plate in the province, every Quebec car carrying this declaration, this commitment, this identity. I remember. Nowhere else. Only here. Only Quebec. Remembering being fundamental, being definitional, being who they are. The St. Lawrence River, is tidal even this far inland, hundreds of kilometers from the ocean, but still tidal. The water level rising and falling by nearly 15 feet every day. The moon pulling, the ocean pushing, the tide reaching. Quebec feeling the pulse of the Atlantic, feeling the rhythm of tides, the water rising, covering mudflats, covering shores, then falling, revealing, exposing. The tidal rhythm constant, eternal, connecting Quebec to the ocean, to the world, to the cosmic dance of moon and water. Because of the tides, the river never truly freezes solid. Ice forms, thick ice. But the tidal movement breaks it, shifts it, creates a constant rhythmic grinding of ice plates throughout the night. Listen. Stand by the river at night in winter. Hear the ice, the grinding, the cracking, the shifting, the plates pushing against each other. The sound mechanical, musical, eerie, beautiful. The river making winter music, creating sound from ice and tide, from frozen and flowing, from solid and liquid meeting. The grinding continues all night, all winter. The river never silent, never still, always moving, always working, always grinding ice. The sound as lullaby, as white noise, as proof that even frozen rivers flow, even solid water moves, even winter has rhythm. The Levy ferry runs 24 hours a day, constantly, never stopping, crossing the river in about 10 minutes. Short journey, quick crossing, but valuable, essential. Connecting Quebec to Lévis, to the opposite shore. The ferry offers the best view of the city's skyline, especially at 2 a.m., at 2 in the morning, when most people sleep, when the city is quietest, when the lights glow against darkness. Taking the ferry at 2 a.m., standing on deck, looking back at Quebec, seeing the city as jewel, as crown, as something precious glowing in night, the best view, the perfect perspective, the moment when Quebec reveals itself most beautifully. From the water at night, the Château Frontenac looks like a glowing crown, sitting on top of black cliffs, the castle lit, the cliff dark, the contrast dramatic, the chateau seeming to float, to hover, to exist suspended between earth and sky. The crown metaphor perfect, Quebec's crown jewel, its treasure, its landmark, glowing, commanding, declaring its importance, its beauty, its centrality. From the ferry, from the water, from 2 a.m., the chateau as beacon, as lighthouse, as proof that Quebec matters, Quebec persists, Quebec shines. There is a secret staircase called the Escalier du Faubourg, connecting the trendy Saint-Roch district to the historic Upper Town. Secret, not because hidden, but because unknown to tourists, used by locals, by those who know. The staircase climbing, connecting levels, connecting neighborhoods, connecting old and new. Saint-Roch modern, revitalized, hip, Upper Town historic, preserved, traditional. The staircase between, allowing movement, allowing connection, allowing those who know to travel between eras, between atmospheres, between Quebec's different faces. The secret staircase as passage, as connector, as local knowledge, as the way insiders move. The old port, Vieux-Port, was once one of the busiest timber ports in the world, filled with logs, with lumber, with the scent of fresh pine and cedar, ships arriving empty, leaving loaded. The timber of Quebec's forests, cut, floated downriver, collected here, exported, sent to England, to Europe, to build ships, to build cities, to build empire. The port smelling of fresh-cut wood, of sap, of forest, the air perfumed with pine, with cedar, the scent defining, creating atmosphere, creating identity. The timber port as Quebec's connection to the world, as economic engine, as reason for growth. Today, the old port is home to a night market. Different purpose, different atmosphere. Local artisans selling honey, maple sugar, hand-knit woolens, products of Quebec, products of the land, products of tradition. The market at night, lit, bustling, people browsing, buying, supporting, the honey golden, the maple sweet, the woolens warm, all representing Quebec, all offering something authentic, something local, something that couldn't come from anywhere else. The night market as celebration, as community, as economy based on place, on tradition, on making things by hand. The Ursuline Garden, a hidden walled park in the center of the city, where the nuns have grown medicinal herbs since the 1600s. 383 years of gardening, of growing, of tending, generation after generation of nuns, learning plants, learning medicine, learning healing, the garden continuing, still growing herbs, still teaching, still connecting to centuries of knowledge, the garden as living history, as practical tradition, as demonstration that old knowledge remains valuable, remains useful, remains worth preserving. The they, walls protecting, creating microclimate, creating shelter, creating space where healing plants grow, where tradition continues, where the past feeds the present. The red roofs of the Petit-Champlain district, not naturally red, not red stone or tile, but painted, historically painted with a mixture of iron oxide and oil, to prevent rotting, to protect wood, to extend life. The iron oxide providing color, the oil providing seal. The combination is working, creating distinctive appearance while serving function. The red roofs defining, identifying, making Petit-Champlain recognizable, making it distinctive, making it itself. Function becoming beauty, necessity becoming aesthetic, protection becoming identity. Legend tells of the chasse galerie, the flying canoe, a story, a tale, a piece of folklore defining Quebec, lumberjacks in winter camps, far from home, far from loved ones, missing, yearning, making a pact with the devil to fly home in a magical canoe on New Year's Eve. The devil agreeing, the canoe lifting, flying through air, over forests, over frozen lakes, over Quebec. The price, their souls if they touched a church steeple, if they said God's name, if they broke the rules. The flying canoe, the magical journey, the dangerous bargain, the story told and retold, generation after generation. The chasse galerie as warning, as wish fulfillment, as expression of longing for home. In this legend, the canoe flew silently over the spires of Quebec City, silhouetted against a giant winter moon. The image perfect, romantic, eerie. The canoe black against bright moon. The church spires reaching, almost touching. The lumberjacks flying carefully, avoiding steeples, holding breath, yearning for home but risking damnation. The story capturing something about isolation, about longing, about risk, about the deals we'd make, the prices we'd pay, to be home, to be with loved ones, to escape loneliness. The flying canoe over Quebec, image burned into imagination, part of Quebec's story, part of its soul. The city's narrowest street, sous le cap, so tight, so narrow. Neighbors can almost reach across and touch the opposite building, almost shake hands from windows, almost pass items without leaving home. The narrowness extreme, claustrophobic, medieval, but charming, distinctive, memorable. Walking sous le cap feels like walking through a crack, through a crevice, through a space barely wide enough. The buildings pressing close. The sky a thin strip overhead. The street intimate, secretive, special. Quebec's narrowest, probably among North America's narrowest, a street that shouldn't work. Shouldn't be practical, but exists. Functions. Endures. At night, the Cat Rouge trestle stands like a steel ghost over the western edge of the city, a massive railway bridge, old, historic, no longer used, standing empty, looming, the steel framework black against sky, the structure geometric, industrial, powerful even in disuse. At night, the trestle as sculpture, as a monument, as reminder of industrial age, of when railways connected, of when steel spanned. The ghost bridge standing watch, standing memory, standing testament to what was, to what Quebec built, to what remains. The Augustinian monastery has been converted into a wellness hotel. Unique concept, unique experience. Guests eat in total silence in the dining room. No conversation, no music, no noise, just silence. To honor the history of the nuns, to experience monastic life, to understand silence as practice, as discipline, as gift. Eating in silence changes eating, makes it meditation, makes it awareness, makes every bite conscious, every flavor noticed, every texture appreciated. The hotel offering more than rooms, offering experience, offering understanding, offering glimpse into contemplative life, into the silence the nuns lived, the peace they knew. Quebec City is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protected by international law, recognized as treasure, as place mattering not just to Quebec, not just to Canada, but to humanity, to the world, to everyone, protected to ensure its sleepy, historic character never changes, never modernizes completely, never loses what makes it special. The UNESCO designation as shield, as guarantee, as commitment that Quebec will remain, will be preserved, will be protected for current generations, for future generations, for everyone who needs a place like Quebec, a place where history lives, where the past is present, where 400 years remain tangible. As the midnight wind blows off the river, it creates sound, a whistling sound. Through the arrow slits of the ancient stone walls, the wind finding these narrow openings, these defensive features designed for archers, for crossbowmen, for those who would defend. The wind passing through, creating whistle, creating voice, the walls singing, the fortifications playing, the wind making the old walls speak, making them audible, making them active. The whistle eerie, musical, reminder that walls meant to protect now only protect heritage, only protect character, only protect history. The wind through arrow slits, the walls whistling, Quebec breathing through its ancient stones. The city's night watch used to ring a bell, to tell residents all is well. A tradition from centuries ago, from when watches walked, when sentries stood guard, when threats were real and present, the bell ringing, the message clear. No danger, no threat, all is well. Sleep safely, rest peacefully. The city protects, the watch maintains. All is well. This tradition lives on, in a rhythmic chime of the 12 o'clock bells, midnight bells, ringing across the city, from churches, from towers, announcing the hour, but also in echo, in memory, saying still, all is well. Quebec watches, Quebec protects, Quebec continues. All is well. As the sun rises over the Laurentian mountains, as dawn breaks, as night yields to day, the mist lift from the St. Lawrence, rising, evaporating, revealing, the city emerging, Quebec becoming visible, showing itself, the mist clearing to reveal a city that remains, proudly, beautifully, sleepily, French. Still French. After 416 years, after conquest, after being absorbed into British North America, after becoming part of English-speaking Canada, still French. Stubbornly, proudly, essentially. French in language, French in culture, French in identity, French in soul. Quebec remaining what Champlain founded, what generations preserved, what UNESCO protects. French and proud of it. The sun rising, the mist clearing, Quebec revealed, Quebec continuing, Quebec being itself, completely, eternally. This has been our journey. Through Quebec City, from the rock and the river, from Champlain's choice, from the walled fortress, from Cap Diamant and Place Royale, through the castle in the sky, through the Château Frontenac, through cathedrals and convents, through tin roofs catching moonlight, through Art Deco and preservation, through ghosts in libraries and hearts in lead boxes, through winter's embrace, through snow capital celebrating cold, through bonhomme and ice palace, through maple on snow and cocooning culture, through golden streetlights and glittering streets, through legends and hauntings, through tides and grinding ice, through ferry views and secret stairs, through flying canoes and whistling walls, through midnight bells and rising mist, through 416 years of being French in North America, of being distinct, of being themselves. Quebec City, the old capital, the fortress, the castle, the winter city, the haunted city, the French city, the UNESCO treasure, the place where stone walls hold 4 centuries of stories, where the St. Lawrence narrows and everything began, where the cliff provided safety, where the river provided life, where French culture planted roots, where winters are celebrated, where cold is transformed into culture, where history lives, where the past is present, where ghosts walk, where legends persist, where the midnight watch still says, all is well, walk with me one last time, down the breakneck stairs, through Petit-Champlain, across Place Royale where it all began, up to the Chateau, along the Dufferin Terrace, into the cathedral, through the narrow streets, past flickering lamps, over the ice bridge that no longer exists, past the trees that mark the way, to the old port smelling of maple and wool, into the Ursuline garden growing healing herbs, up sous le Cap where buildings almost touch, to the Cap Rouge trestle standing ghostly, into the Augustinian silence, through the fortifications' whistling wind, under the UNESCO protection, into the ferry crossing at 2 a.m. to see the glowing crown on black cliffs, to watch the mist rise from the river, to witness Quebec revealed in dawn light. Quebec City stands, 416 years and counting, on its rock, by its river, within its walls, speaking its French, celebrating its winters, honoring its dead, telling its stories, being itself, refusing to become anything else, refusing to modernize beyond recognition, refusing to abandon identity for convenience. Quebec as testament, as proof, as demonstration that cities can remain themselves, can honor their past, can preserve their character, can be stubbornly, proudly, beautifully themselves, against trends, against pressures, against time itself. The rock endures, the river flows, the walls stand, the chateau glows, the cathedral prays, the winter comes, the carnival celebrates, the legends persist, the ghosts walk, the bells ring, the mist rises, and Quebec continues, being Quebec, being French, being old, being beautiful, being sleepy, being awake, being haunted, being alive, being memory and present simultaneously, being past and future, meeting in stone and river and snow and light. Rest now in Quebec's embrace, in its stone arms, in its historical heart, in its French soul. Let 416 years cradle you. Let the rock support you. Let the river soothe you. Let the walls protect you. Let the chateau shelter you. Let the winter warm you. Let the ghosts accompany you. Let the legends entertain you. Let the midnight watch assure you. All is well. Quebec stands. Quebec endures. Quebec continues. All is well. From the Sleepy City Travelers Channel, thank you for this journey. Through the old capital, through the fortress city, through 4 centuries of French persistence, through winter celebration and summer charm, through stone and river, through history and present, through legend and reality, through the city that remembers. Je me souviens. I remember. Thank you for remembering with us, for experiencing Quebec, for understanding why this city matters, why it's protected, why it persists, why it remains. Good night from Cap Diamant, from the St. Lawrence, from the stone walls, from the Château Frontenac, from Place Royale, from the cathedral, from the ice palace, from the narrow streets, from the fortifications, from the ferry, from the midnight watch, from the rising mist, from Quebec City. Good night from the city that stands, that remembers, that remains, that endures. Good night from French America's birthplace, from the most haunted, from the snow capital, from the fortress, from the old capital, from Quebec. Sleep well, in the peace of stone, in the rhythm of tides, in the silence of ice, in the glow of amber lamps, in the warmth of cocooning, in the protection of walls, in the embrace of history, in the cradle of 4 centuries. Sleep as Quebec sleeps, peacefully, proudly, completely itself. Sleep and remember. Je me souviens. I remember. We remember. Quebec remembers. And so we honor, and so we preserve, and so we cherish this remarkable city, this French fortress, this winter capital, this haunted beauty, this UNESCO treasure, this place like nowhere else. Quebec City, forever French, forever itself. Good night, sleep well, all is well, je me souviens.